Hey everyone, it is Friday night. Let's give it another second just to see if we get a few more people that have been waiting for us. We're at about 3. Would have thought they were all been waiting with anxious, bated breath.
Oh, bated breath. Come on.
Well, 12, we're getting there.
Okay.
We're just waiting a few minutes to get a few more people before we start.
Oh, Ralph's there.
I look forward to Fridays, but then again, we work 7 days a week anyway. I was saying to a few people, I really can't wait for this thing to be over, and we could kind of have our lives back. But it's been crazy.
Crazy is an understatement.
Well, we've had a lot of news today. I mean, and look, so it's Friday, right? So what happened? The Friday was actually the 5 or 6 o'clock upload to the court docket. We had couple of newspaper articles this week. We had a revised rally that got canceled because the UFT kind of figured out we were coming and they decided to change their plans. And so it was a busy week, right?
Yeah.
Categorically, it was a very busy week. But all right, so we're at about 71. So let's go ahead. We're nearing 100. So yes, today is Friday, and we close our page every evening to give our moderators and admins a break. Very well needed after this crazy week. But thanks for still tagging along with us on this. We wanted to give you a few updates. You want me to start, or do you want to start?
No, go ahead. You got more to say than I do.
So I do want to tell you, please keep the momentum going with the petition. Go to our website, and there's a link. There's a navigation bar to visit the petitions. If you have already signed it, you can ignore that part. Please pass it along to your friends, post it on your page. We want to get that passed out as much as possible. We have asked DC 37 retirees to pass it out, and it's just not going anywhere. I don't understand what the issue is there, but anyway. We've asked several organizations to spread it around, and while we've been getting some response to it, I would like the 2 links. On that page are 2 links. There's the petition to be signed to ask the mayor to not pursue the appeal. And then there's another link to email each of the city council boroughs with the representatives. We tried to divide it up equally between each of the boroughs. There might be some representatives in different boroughs, so just take a peek. But please also start to reach out for the city council email. You click it, it auto-populates an email with everyone in the 2-bar, and then the subject and the body of the email, and you can sign your name and put your address down at the bottom, or just reference that you're part of this organization. You are a New York City retiree, and you're appealing to them because this affects you. So please pass that around as well. Those are our 2 asks, and we're just going to keep focusing on those right now because that is the mission of this organization, is to try to spread the word about what we're going through.
Going back to the petition before you move on to the next subject, just to let you guys know, because I get the questions in the email. So again, as Marianne said, that, she sends it out in the email. And sometimes you'll get a petition.net. It's a reminder. So if you did answer it and you did do the petition, it's just a reminder to say, hey, hello, spread it around. That's all it is. So if you took it, you don't have to do it again. And you don't have to ask me, is this from you guys? It's just a reminder. That's all it is. Okay. And it does have our name on it, our organization. So just to give you a heads up, it is from us. And again, it's just, hey, it's from us. Okay, so go ahead.
Yeah, because just like in any of those other fundraisers, I can do an outreach to the people that have done the petition just to remind you to do something or give you an update, and that's exactly what it is from. So if it does say it's from the NYC Organization of Public Service Retirees and it is from iPetitions, it's most likely me. Sorry, didn't mean to freak you out. I was just really just trying to get some information out there. So the next thing is tonight's brief. So the Alliance, so they filed an amicus into the case, and just like they did when we were in Supreme Court, they did one here as well. Really, it's nothing to freak out about. It really was. It's not worrying anyone. It's not concerning us. We're not bothered by it. They want to be a friend of the city and put in a supporting document of their case. Well, so be it. But it actually goes to describe how much crazier that this could not get when they want to try to explain to the court how they're trying to peg our insurance at $7.50 a month for a Medicare eligible older, senior, infirm, whatever retiree plan. It's absolutely insane, and even goes to even further the point. Like, what was it, that UFT teacher down in Florida said something like, well, what do you get, something for nothing? Well, what kind of a plan are you giving me that's worth $7.50? So don't worry about that. I mean, read it. If you could line your birdcage with it. You could. I think someone had a joke, if it was Charmin, you'd wipe your butt with it. I mean, it's
that was that other letter.
It is what it is. So I love that you guys are paying attention. This is fantastic, but do not stress over their brief. It's not worrying any of us. We're, I think, on pretty firm footing, and we and the attorneys are pretty confident. We feel good about where we're at. So. At least for right now. And then the next thing I want to talk to you about is we want to put together an outreach panel to start doing some outreach. So we're looking for 10 people. I'd like to try to do New York City, folks. If you are in the city, I'm looking for at least 2 people per borough. Each of the boroughs, I want 2 people minimum. So if we can do that, that would be fantastic. Please send us an email to our organization, retirees@nycretirees.org. That's our easy email. Or you can use the Gmail one if you have that too. They all go to Michelle anyway. But retirees with an S, RETIREES @nycretirees.org. And let us know that you'd like to be part of that outreach panel. And that outreach panel would be sending emails and making phone calls. And it would be a very specific group of people you would be making those communications with. So if you would like to do that, please let us know. We would love to make a committee by next week sometime, have that ready to go for the week after. So next week will be our organizing, and then the week after will be implementation. And I think that's all I had, right? Those were my 3 things.
Oh, okay. I thought you had something else.
I probably do. Go ahead.
All right. Anyway, again, I know it's a broken record, and I know my mods, they keep saying it all week, and I'm going to say it again. You people, I know OLR posted some nonsense. It's not nonsense. They posted again. Yes, they posted a letter about the letter they put out in December about the copays. And yes, we have been saying it all along. Those copays need to be paid. Okay. Somebody was nice enough that there's a doctor's office in Long Island that says, if you do not pay your copay at the time of the visit, you will be charged a $25 administration fee on top of the copay. Okay. So that just came over. So thank you for sending me that photo from that doctor's office. That was just great. So again, we have told you time and time again, even before the new year, when we knew about it. So again, just pay it. We know about it. We're trying to wrap it up into this. And again, we're on top of it. Again, as for the Med B reimbursement, it'll be coming at some point this month. It's done so for the people who went on Medicare mid-year last year, you will get a partial, because it goes by calendar year. So you will get a partial for right, Marianne? It's the part, it goes by calendar year. So it's for the years that you pay into the Medicare Part B. So that's what you will get paid.
It's prorated. So if you come into the beginning, in the middle of the year, you're not going to get a full 12 months, obviously, because you didn't pay into 12 months. So you'll get what you paid on your Social Security statement. It'll show you what you paid. That's what you'll get back.
Okay, and Ralph, sorry he couldn't be here. He's got some laryngitis, so he has no voice. So just relaying a message.
And Madeline did post on our page as to her category. She's still dealing with a personal issue, so keep her in your prayers. But she did post a new graphic, and I think we were at about $32,000 towards our $300,000 ask. So keep that coming in. Remember, we have the appeal, and then we have the cross appeal, which would be ours because we filed a counter. And then if this does get sent back down to the Supreme Court, guess what? That's a third action. So you're going to be with us for a while. I saw a question in here is if it's on the June calendar. If this is on the June calendar, does the attorneys have enough staffing? I don't know why you would ask that. Our attorneys are on pretty solid footing with what they have to do. Steve and Jake are on top of our case. We talk to them every week. We used to talk to them every single day almost. And with this little lull, we're all kind of taking a break. But don't worry about them. They're actually quite fine. I spoke to Jake and Steve just before we got on, just to touch base with them. It is Friday night. They're doing their thing too, but they wanted us to know that they weren't concerned in the least about that amicus that the Alliance had filed. So it's all right, do what you need to do, and we'll keep you posted along the way. I am not seeing another question. Oh, they have to file the reimbursement for the first time, and they will receive it every year after that. Yes, Roberta, you file the Medicare B reimbursement from the OLR form and OLR site and upload it into Leap File. You only have to do it once. The only time you have to file anything else is if you do not receive what was on your SSA form. So then if you received less, you would have to file a differential. Yes, and that the Medicare B comes into the same account as your pension check. If you get it by check, you get a paper check. If you get it electronic, you get it electronic.
Olga, we don't know when the appeal is going to be scheduled, correct, Marianne?
No.
Right.
So the city was there's two ways to do an appeal. Typically it goes according to a traditional schedule, and it does take some time. Then there's the expedited route. Now the court has to agree to be compelled that this is an argument that requires a expedited schedule. We have not heard from them yet. I know they had asked to try to have a decision from the court by April 4th, which would be next week. There was a April 11th date on the brief that was filed today from the Alliance, but the judges could do this on their own time schedule, and we just don't know what that will be. But your guess is as good as ours. We're just waiting to see if there is a reply, and I'm assuming if there is no reply, guess what? When it comes up, and that probably means the court didn't think that the argument was compelling enough to hear it any sooner than they have. We live in Arizona, and I had some people reach out to my husband and I. Janice Wolf Rothschild, I'm not quite sure who would reach out to you. Was this the city, the Alliance, us? It wasn't us. My husband and I are both on Medicare. Will we get two checks or one? Carol Genauer. I would believe that would come separately.
Yeah, it's two separate. You'll each get I don't know if you get mailed a check, well, or direct deposit comes separately.
Yes, Ellen Reiser, our attorneys asked to wait. And the city was like, no, we need this now. Their argument is every month that this is delayed, it costs the city $50 million. Well, it doesn't really cost them anything. It is not a real $50 million. And this goes to some of the aggravation that a lot of us hear. The city says it's a $600 million savings. It's really not $600 million. But if you tell the lie long enough, it becomes a fact, right? So we've been trying to educate people that it's not $600 million. The $600 million is based on $200 a month times 250,000 people times 12 months. But there's not 250,000 retirees. And according to one of the last actuary reports, I believe the number was like 100. I'm going to be dyslexic here. It was either 173,000 or 137,000 people. It ends up being like a $26 million savings if we were all pushed into this plan now. Now, still $26 million is nothing to sneeze at. But that's saying that you're okay with, the city would be okay with completely taking away a retiree's current health insurance. And we've been making plenty of YouTube videos on our YouTube channel. And if you're not on that, you should subscribe to that too. But we have laid out several instances of how this plan would impact a retiree's life, either financially or, with continuation of care, continuity of care. This is crazy that no one's paying attention to this. And even to raise the issue that the welfare funds from the unions would be impacted, because if retirees are pushed into a Medicare Advantage plan, the rules for this plan require that you be in your welfare fund plan. You cannot have a private Part D plan, or you buy the rider, right? If your union doesn't offer a plan. But if you do have a welfare fund plan through your union, in order to get into the rider, you must exhaust the welfare fund allotment to you. So if your cap from your organization, whatever union you're in, is $10,000 or $5,000 or $20,000, guess what? In order for you to get into the rider, you have to exhaust that, which means that there are retirees right now that don't even use their welfare funds because they either don't cover their formulary medication or because that they would well exceed the cap with the kind of drug that they take. So they have to buy a private Part D plan. In a Medicare Advantage plan, you're not allowed to have a private Part D plan. You must be in your union plan. And the unions aren't getting this. By forcing a retiree into this, it will suck their union welfare prescription fund dry. I just don't understand. So they're going to have to wake up eventually to see that this not only affects us, it's going to affect them. And it will probably destroy their welfare funds faster than they think they're going to be destroyed if the money off of our backs from doing this plan doesn't get dumped into the stabilization fund. But hey, that's a whole nother story. Right? That's like a whole video in itself.
All right.
You seeing anything else?
No, I'm still looking, talking about Medicare B. Come on, ask some questions, people. Yes, we know the new plan does not benefit out-of-state retirees. We know. Nope, the new plan doesn't do, all right, anyway.
The new plan does not benefit out-of-state. Well, according to them, it does, because they're saying it's a national plan, but we are all well aware it is an LPPO. It is local preferred provider organization stitched together to make a national program, and technically it's a house of cards. If you start looking at the news, you'll also be seeing that Blue Cross has been dropping providers. We just found that they dropped more providers this week.
Yes.
They dropped a facility in Mississippi, and they dropped another facility in Chicago. So now you have these large medical networks that are no longer in the plan, and is now it destroys your continuity of care, or if you live in those two locations, and that's a blue product. So and to double check that, I went up on the Alliance's Find Care tool. Both of those networks were gone.
Right,
So,
and also they find Anthem in Georgia. They find 2 million,
Yeah.
right? Right, for fraud, right, for billing fraud. Right.
I've been reading so many issues with Blue Cross. I don't even remember.
No, I know.
But I know there was North Atlanta.
Right. So there was a $2 million fine imposed on Anthem in Georgia. So it's coming. The fines are coming.
My brother, George Roman, my brother-in-law, is retired from the New York City Department of Sanitation, but not Medicare eligible. But his wife has Medicare. Is she entitled to reimbursement? Yes. And if they haven't opted out and they choose to stay in these plans, please ask them to opt out. The electronic opt-out link is on our website, nycretirees.org/opt-out.
Right, and the opt-out, the petition's on there, everything's on our website. Yeah, right, Mark, 5 million.
Right, and keep opting out, because the city's trying to hide these numbers. They're not making them public. They're making them only with a FOIA request, which is ridiculous. And then I don't know if they're doing them backwards or they're only doing an allotment of so many a day so that it doesn't look like they're moving. We know that retirees are opting out. Thousands of you keep telling us you're opting out. So it definitely speaks volumes that not only are they hiding the numbers, but they, both OLR, MLC, and some of the unions, keep urging people not to opt out. So there must be a reason why. Please speak to the significance of the Comptroller not signing off on the contract, Diane Aaron. Okay, Diane, good question. Sorry, I did forget to bring that up. Thank you for the reminder. So the Comptroller, Brad Lander, decided not to, after an extensive review, decided not to register the contract for the Alliance. Now, after conversations with the Comptroller's office, his decision carries a lot of weight given the reasons that he stated, that it is unproven on who would pay for it. The financing isn't there because they expected it to be financed on our backs, that we would be paying these premiums for senior care if we stayed out of it. And if not, then the savings was to them, because then they would have pushed us into a plan that was inferior to our current plan, but on the dime of the federal government. Anyway, now that this was a public statement, it falls back to OLR to take back the contract and either revise it or wait till this court case is settled before they do anything. However, the mayor still has the ability to force its registration, although with his last video that I watched on YouTube, where he described the fiscal year 2023 budget, he declares him and his administration as a fiscal watchdog and the protector of the people's purse. And if that is the case, after everything that Comptroller Lander stated, it would be fiscally irresponsible of the mayor to force a contract that has no proven funding and is left in a lurch because of the current litigation. It also would set a horrible precedent that in order just to stand by whatever principle he's on because of whatever the unions have fed him regarding this plan and its funding, to renege on promises the city of New York has made to retirees. Remember, again, what that teacher down in West Coast Florida said, that you don't get nothing for free, right? No free lunch was her explanation. However, this isn't free to us. We paid for these plans. We paid in blood, sweat, and tears. We paid in contract negotiations, collective bargainings over 30, 40, 50 years. We paid blood, sweat, and tears. We paid. We gave up raises to protect our benefits. We took 0 zeros under the Giuliani administration to protect our benefits. And we didn't sell anybody out then either. So this is important. We just now need to wait and see, because it seems like our care, our lives, our future, our health insurance are in the hands of so many other people, because we don't have a say in that process. We don't have collective bargaining. We don't have a seat at that negotiating table, and they don't want us there either. And the only reason that they did this, OLR, was because they know we are low-hanging fruit and have no say in this process. It was the easiest way to get money, to show us savings. And Michelle and I learned something this week.
What did we learn today? What did we do? What did we learn? I learn stuff every day.
We learned how the city claims a savings.
About the fake accounting.
we learned. So when the city says, "Oh, we saved $50 million," sometimes it's a paper savings. So if the city hires, like, I forget who the city representative was, was it Milliman? Whatever the contractor was. It was either Milliman or Siegel. I forget which one that they hired, which one the MLP hired. So let's say hypothetically it's Milliman, and Milliman comes back as, or whatever their vendor is, and says, "Oh, this is what insurance should cost the city this year. Each of the plans should cost, they should end up going up higher, and at an 8% increase is what it should cost you." So just round off numbers, let's just say like $1,000 a plan. So then they take the insurance company, and the insurance company, they say, "Okay, well, it's, time to set your rates this year and submit them to the State Department of Insurance. What's your ask?" And then they'll say, "Oh, we only need a 4% raise." So a 4% increase on your premium, that's fantastic. So then they take the rate that they got from the vendor, from the actuary guy, and then the 4%, which was 8%, then they take the 4% that the vendor says they need, and they go, "Hey, guess what? We got a 4% savings this year." How did you realize a 4% savings? Just because someone estimated high. It's like when you're going to refinance your house or something, and the bank comes up with like some number of what your house is worth, and you're like, your head is spinning like, my house isn't worth that, but they know that they got to get you high enough to qualify for the loan that you do want from the bank. I mean, this is like crazy paper stuff. So I'm like, okay, so that's real. And he goes, "Well, they put it on paper that it's a 4% savings." Oh, gotcha. So they tell the vendor go high, the actuarial person go high. They tell the insurance vendor go low, and the difference becomes the savings. I'm like, shit. He and I were just floored at that explanation, but knowing what the city's trying to do to convince a court and everybody else that there's an insurance plan on the market for $7.50 a month for senior citizens and disabled. Gotcha. We're going to write a book after this.
I always say you can't make this shit up. There's really can't.
Are you seeing anything? James, the strong will do what they will, the weak will suffer if they must. Yes, they were surprised.
Okay, so
I'm not seeing anything else.
All right, there were how many really opted out? We can't get they won't tell, right? They wouldn't tell us exactly, right? We did a FOIA request on that to get an actual number, and they sent like a piece of paper that was blacked out. And then they gave us like old numbers, and it was like, seriously?
Yeah, so when you do a FOIA request, freedom of information, you're entitled to information through the government through sunshine laws. And it's, if you're given a request, if you're given a reply to a FOIA, you're entitled to the information. They're not allowed to tell you to keep it secret. The city of New York has an open portal where you can look up any FOIA request that's been asked, so that it saves you from having to file another one, especially if it's already in their system. So what we noticed was there's a lot of people who filed to ask what the opt-out numbers were. And when you look at the file, it's empty. Why would it be empty? You look at some other ones and there's information there, not the numbers, but other requests that are closed. And of course, there's many more that are open. The city would save themselves so much energy if they just printed the damn numbers or gave them to the press. But they don't want to, because they don't want it out there. How many of us don't want this freaky plan? So we knew that there was a FOIA that was closed regarding the numbers. And we contacted OLR and said, we know it's closed. Could you please copy us on it? And they did. And the whole top of it was blacked out. They didn't want us to see what the questions were, or any of the information, or the email addresses, blah, blah, blah. And then literally we saw one line and it said the opt-outs effective March 14th were, and it gave us the number. And then it said that, you know, the numbers might not be perfect, but it was the numbers. And then the second sheet was like from Emblem, because remember what OLR said, that they were not the keeper of the documents. The Alliance always said that they were the keeper of the documents, right?
Yeah, well, that was like a ping pong game. Bad game of badminton. I tell you that much.
Well, supposedly it's Emblem that is keeping or tracking or processing the opt-outs. So they had to give the information to the city of New York. And then that back sheet was from Emblem. And I don't even know why the hell they included it in the FOIA, but it said like, this information is confidential. It's just meant for your eyes and not to be shared. Really? It was revealed in a FOIA. Anything that's in a FOIA, you could skywrite. So don't freak out when you see that, please.
We know it's way more than that.
It is just more craziness. Can the city refuse to allow or offer retirees a traditional Medicare plan? Claudia Giordano, the city could do whatever the hell it wants to do. Whether or not it's legal or not, then becomes an issue. And if they try to do something that's illegal, we're just going to keep suing them. That's your right. You know, they talk about Claire Levitt talks about killing senior care to force everybody into this plan. This is not the first time they tried to do this. They tried to do this again once before. We actually have a document on that. And if this is how they want to do it, they have to kill all the other insurance plans. We're calling this the nuclear option. They're gonna spite, they're gonna spite themselves. But I think that there's a little pushback from the MLC on that. And this case does go to show, I mean, there's plenty of history that they added in other plans within the system, within the city repertoire, so that there was competition. So if you have more than one vendor offering a product, you have competition. What does competition do? It drives down your rates, the cost, and it adds incentives and improves upon the service. So why would the city go ahead and hire one company that's fractured itself into little bits and only offers insurance mostly from Empire, Anthem, Blue Cross, HIP, when they're all owned by the same company and they all control the rates? Now, wink, wink, if they were able to charge you $188 last 6 months ago, and then this year, what did they say? For competitiveness, they dropped the rate to $7.50. Well, then, geez, you can drop the senior care rate to $7.50. Do you understand how they're manipulating it? I wish someone who's an attorney in the Southern District of New York would call me, because it's not from a lack of me calling you, but no one from the Southern District of New York seems to think that there's anything involved in this case. Either that or they're too busy.
Well, yeah. So it's Medicare pays 80, GHI pays 20. Yes, they do. And the reason why co-pays and deductibles and stuff like that's implemented by the plans are to keep the premiums down, the cost of the premiums. Okay. So, we know OLR and the city, they impose these, these co-pays and stuff. So, Medicare eligibles didn't have them, but the active employees, they've had co-pays, okay? And again, it kept premiums down. So now, they imposed them here. And again, like Marianne's saying, when you don't have competitive rates because there's no other plans, or all the plans, wink, wink, are owned by the same company.
Yeah.
The premiums are through the roof. So now they have to try to implement copays. So that's why, so yeah, your answer to your question is yes, Medicare does pay 80%. GHI does pay the 20, but there are copays implemented. But again, you know, we don't, you know, we are trying to fight it. Yes, we are, because it just seems a little, you know, because we were given no warning on this, you know, we didn't hear about it, you know, and just poof, they showed up. So again, you know, that's the whole issue with copays. So just to answer that question.
William Shenton, you're asking a question. I'm not quite sure what you're asking. Hello, I have been trying to find out what the heck the amount on my W-2 form for health coverage of more than $8,000 represents. Can you all help? Do all retirees get W-2 forms? If so, what is reported for your health care? Now, if that is on your pension statement, you should also be getting a form, and I don't know where my tax file is, but you should be getting a form stating exactly what you pay.
It's the, is that the IMP? That it's the IMP, that's the health insurance that the city pays for the spouse. I think that's what he's talking about.
But I was not understanding that was supposed to be taxable.
It's not. They send it out as on a W-2 form, but it says IMP next to it, because that's the same thing I get for Jason from the domestic partnership. Right.
So William, email Michelle and have that, tell her exactly what that form is, and maybe she can shed some light on that for you.
Yeah, yeah. But again, he might, you know, I don't know, is he getting taxed on it, or it depends. So yeah, have him email me.
So here's that question. So Tom Tuna, you're asking, when you can, please post the names of the 6 council people and 8 state senators who signed the letter opposing the map, and would you do an outreach to the group, to all other state senators be advisable? Okay, so I already said we're putting together an outreach committee. We're not putting, that letter is not ready to go out, and we were not the people that wrote that letter. So I'm going to not publish anything. What I'm going to say is, if you live in the 5 boroughs and you'd be willing to do some of the outreach and calling some of the assembly people and senators, I wanted at least a minimum of 2 people per borough. I'm sure we could use more, so plenty of volunteers. Hey, and Tom, don't you live in the city? Hand up, right? So help us out with that outreach. But that letter is not ready to go public. It is right now building momentum. And when it is ready, the people that put that letter out, I'm sure will make that public.
Denise Rickles, 3rd time asking. I paid my deductible a while ago. I haven't been asked to pay a copay. I've been to my doctors many more times than usual this week. I got 2 copay bills. Isn't it normal to be billed the copay and not asked up front?
You're supposed to pay copays up front.
Yeah, you're supposed to pay copays up front.
Copays are collected at the time of service.
Right, which goes back to now what that office in Long Island is doing. They now have a sign up there. If you do not pay it up front, they will charge a $25 admission fee. Lori Maslow, send an email about the outreach, for that outreach volunteer that we're looking for. Send an email with your name and information, what borough you live in.
I think that's about it. All right. So it's a quarter after. We went a little longer, but at least we had a couple more questions. So rewatch this if you have questions, or if you missed a part of it. Please make sure if you haven't signed the petition or did the emails to City Council, you go to our website, www.nycretirees.org. Do both of those, please. Share them on your own page. Get that momentum going out there. And then we will keep you informed as things develop. We'll close the page as soon as we're signed off. This video will post to our Facebook page. We will also upload it. Actually, I never even hit record. Because
No,
I got to I forgot.
Recording.
No, it didn't. No, no, it just said, yeah, I'll fix that. I'll just have to re-record it off the screen. But it'll eventually, after I do record it, we'll post it to YouTube and then send it out. That'll be our Friday update. And that's about it. So if you have more questions, put them in the thread. You know, we don't get to them before I close it. We'll open it up, answer the questions on Monday. So have a great weekend. Keep your donations coming in. We appreciate all of your support, and have a great weekend.
Actually, you guys rock. Keep up the donations. All righty.
We'll talk to you soon. Bye.